inhale fully and exhale. Once more, please inhale fully and exhale. Once more, please inhale fully and exhale. Now please just relax physically, mentally. And then, Anila, you want to lead the opening prayers?
I apologize, I'm sharing. All Mother Sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All Mother Sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. All Mother Sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience. May they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my speech, body, and mind to virtue. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of bodhisattva's path. I take refuge in the Buddhas until I attain the essence of awakening. Likewise, I take refuge in the Dharma and in the assembly of bodhisattvas. Just as the Buddhas of the past gave rise to bodhicitta and progressed along the bodhisattva's path, so shall I give rise to bodhicitta for the benefit of all beings and practice the stages of the bodhisattva's path. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. May all Mother Sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and causes of suffering. May they be free from suffering and causes of suffering. May they not be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all Mother Sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and causes of suffering. May they not be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all Mother Sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and causes of suffering. May they never be separated from happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. An infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite ocean of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all beings they contain. My body enjoyments and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and the times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping. Completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and attributes of arising, cessation, abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Deva Da Kini Ratna Mandala Pratit Sasto Ha. Namo to the Guru, the utter purity of all appearance and existence. I offer all appearance and existence arisen as the primordial ground. I supplicate you. May the 3 realms be completely liberated. Please grant blessings to empty samsara from its very depths. Lord, with the 5 omniscient wisdoms, crown ornament, kind one, with loving nature, precious protector of beings, heart of all the Buddhas, inexpressible by words or thought, I supplicate you from the core of my mind. Bless me from within the state of Dharmata. Bless me to realize this mind primordially pure and unborn as unfathomable Dharmakaya. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of greater and lesser vehicles and teachings come into both dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Everybody want to say hello and good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. And we are very fortunate to have this time to reflect on the wisdom of the Buddha. And now, as we know, or as we are aware, everybody desire for peace and happiness, whether this life, today, tomorrow, next life, whatever. But we simply just desire to have peace and happiness, and we desire to free from suffering. So that's the reality. It's the universal. It's not somebody's belief, or it is not something a religious thing. It is the everybody's just have that in the innate of the mind. Right from the beginning, we have this. So having said that, Buddha taught all those teachings, as you know now, what are the suffering and causes of suffering, what are the cause for peace and happiness, and what it means, peace and happiness. So as you know, there are temporary relief or temporary, we look for peace and happiness when we don't have the wisdom to the depth of their meaning. No, we have no choice. Now, here Buddha taught teachings to uproot all the cause of this suffering and totally to establish the permanent way how to achieve peace and happiness. So that is the message of the Buddha that Buddha taught. And we're studying that. See, as I mentioned, it's not a religious training. It's not just a religious belief, but we're touching the reality nature of the universe, the reality nature of this samsara and nirvana. So it is something very precious thing that you see. It requires such a great wisdom, courage, especially courage based on the wisdom, conviction. No? So with that kind of wisdom and courage will allow us to get rid of all the cause of suffering. It will give us all the opportunity to reveal all this total peace and happiness. And that, as we know, is not something we achieve from outside, somewhere else. We're not going to some special places to find this. Rather, we have to find out within our own mind stream, in the mind itself. So our mind is the foundation of all this. So therefore, since we have the Buddha's wisdom, the key to open that door, so, and other conditions, we have the precious human life, that precious human life gives us these opportunities. So therefore, we should always appreciate, rejoice, and always try to take advantage. Means not from the negative point of view, with the rejoice, with the feeling of gratefulness. It's not something granted, but it's something we accumulated. Through the great accumulation, we got this opportunity. So that's just we reflect. And we do this study practice not just for one individual thing, one individual person, but for whole sentient beings, for whole universe, because our life is connected with every sentient beings. It's not something one individual is independent. Our life is so much, related to all the sentient beings. Therefore, we need this altruistic thought, a universal mind, the wisdom that we cultivate to free from all the suffering, everyone, and to achieve total peace and happiness. So that kind of our mind is so important to reflect, remind, And we practiced our mind on the basis of this ground. Now then, today, on a special day, it's a Kyobypa. You know, everybody knows Kyobypa, the writer of the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, his anniversary. Today is a full moon of the 6th month of Tibetan calendar. And Kyobypa was a teacher who came in Tibet, and in the 11th century, as disciple of Milarepa and Kadamba lineage. He established the Buddha's teaching to how to practice. That's called, his lineage is called practicing lineage. Not just proving philosophically this and that, this, all the different systems, but how to put the practice into one life. Particularly, now he gave such he discovered, or he started a lineage to study and practice both the sutra and the tantra teachings by one person without any contradiction. Before him, there's a big gap. Those who practices tantra say they cannot practice Vinaya. Those who are practicing Vinaya, they cannot practice tantra. They're fighting each other. When those who are tantra practitioners, they look down on the Vinaya, they say, this is Hinayana. This is not important. We are Vajrayana practitioners. We are allowed to do these things. We are allowed to drink, all these things, you see. But Kyobypa, first he was trained in the Kadamba school. Vinaya, Bodhicitta, thoroughly. He himself became such a pure monk. With that kind of nature, condition, then he went to see Milarepa. And Milarepa is, you see, the highest Vajrayana practitioner, that all the Vajrayana teachings that he received from Marpa. And then Milarepa transmitted all those highest yoga tantra practice, including 6 yogas Naropa, to Kyobypa. So Kyobypa, while he was a pure monk, receiving all those Vajrayana teachings, and then he practiced them without any single contradiction. You see, very important. So that kind of lineage is started from Kyobypa in Tibet, you see. So make sure you understood that. So very precious, you see. Such a precious. So today is the Kyobypa's anniversary. So this is just, I want to just share this message, information, so that we practice without contradiction, without looking down Vinaya, because Vinaya is the foundation of the Buddha's teaching. And all the teachings are built above that foundation, then Bodhicitta practice, Mahayana, and then Vajrayana practice. All these 3 vows, Vinaya vows, Bodhisattva's vow, Vajrayana vows, without any single contradiction, he practiced that, established that. So, because of that, Kyobypa then established this To Practice lineage. It's called practicing, as mentioned, practicing lineage. All his disciples, there's hundreds of thousands of monks produced and pervaded entire in Asia at that time. See, so I want to share this Kyobypa, just gets a glimpse of that, appreciate. So we are follower of the Kyobypa. So all the great masters are followed his footsteps, regardless of their lineage, whether Nyingma or Gelug, Saja, anybody. So that's how Kyobypa was a great teacher. Now, today our point is here now. We are studying Samsara, Nirvana, two sides of the same hand, the wheel of wisdom. Now this, as last time I mentioned, it's very complete teaching, a complete cycle. So last time we just touched on the reality nature of the Samsara and Nirvana. Samsara, Nirvana, two sides of one hand. As a ground Mahamudra, how it becomes Samsara, how it becomes Nirvana. Now today, especially we are say how Samsara, how we confuse in the Samsara. Samsara is the state of the confusion. So we'll go through this step by step. There are also different points. First, you see there are 7 points. So please, now these are very important. How we are confused in the Samsara. See, so what's the foundation? What's the basis of the confusion? What's the cause of confusion? What's the identity of the confusion? So forth. There are 7 points. So I will go through this step by step. You just reflect. So these are such very important. I know many of you have received very advanced teachings, Mahamudra, Dzogchen, Madhyamika, all those you have received from different great teachers. Sometimes you think maybe this is okay. Sometimes you think this is okay, not some clear understanding. So today here we are going through, first see what are the confusion, how we are confused. So this first is very important. So here's so what is samsaric confusion, or how we are confused in the samsara? Okay, so as mentioned, there are 7 points. The first one is Init Dharma Dhatu, the basis of confusion. Means, what's the basis of confusion? Okay, so Init, so Dharma Dhatu, I'm sure you know, many of you know. Dharma means phenomena. Dhatu means pervading. The pervading phenomena. All pervading phenomena. This phenomenon is not something that we touch, see this. It's all, in the emptiness nature. So that's the basis of our confusion. It's not saying the Dharma Dhatu or the emptiness is the cause of our confusion, but we are confused within in that due to lack of the wisdom to see that. So that's the basis of our confusion. Now in that, we have one verse in that. All dharmas, here Dharma means all phenomena. This all phenomena means the object of knowledge. The object of knowledge in the samsara, in the nirvana, both. All the dharmas have the characteristics of space. Means all these objects of knowledge, whether outside, inside. Just outside these all phenomena or inner sentient beings, all their nature is the characteristic of space means is free from all elaboration. You cannot see this space, you cannot touch this space, but the space is the basis of all these our planets, galaxies, stars, and all this are based in the space. They manifest from this space, they dissolve into the space. But space itself is emptiness, is pervading. Space is pervaded to all the phenomena, all the objects, you see. So all these phenomena, the nature is like the space. So that's why I say, beyond any limiting existence, non-existence, elaboration, you see, is all free from elaboration. Existence, non-existence, all are within in that free from elaboration, all pervading. Now that, just look at your own mind, you see. It's very good to look at your own mind. All thoughts are manifesting. There's this manifesting of your thoughts, conceptions. These are elaborated, manifesting from your empty mind. You see, they all manifest from your mind and dissolve into your mind. They go to nowhere. So like this, all these outer phenomena are the manifestation of the emptiness. So that's it. Just understand that. This is very profound. It's very scientific, you see. It's very scientific. You can see this. It's not something philosophy is made up, but how things are manifesting. See? So, at the same time, see, various Dharma instances means all the different manifestations. In the mind, as I mentioned, I like, I don't like, or attachment, anger, pride, jealousy, all say loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, all are manifest from our own mind. Like this, outside, everything is manifested from this space. So that's called Dharma instances. All the knowledge, you see. So, cloud of holder and held, obscured, confused, the expense. So this all due to our conceptual thoughts, due to the cloud of the thought. Then we fail to recognize that as the space, as the manifestation of the mind. See, this all manifested, you see, from the basis of the emptiness. Not just mere empty, you see, it's the emptiness of all phenomena. Here, emptiness means space. It's called like a pervading energy. So look at this. So that's the basis of the confusion. Okay? So first, make sure we understood this. Then, what is the root cause of this confusion? No. Now we understood the basis of the confusion, but what is the root cause of the confusion? Now, just see, make that understand. So it's the wavering of fundamental not knowing, non-knowing, so ignorance. In Tibet, it's called marikpa, the cause of confusion. See, so the cause of confusion is the great ignorance. That there's no outside. Now, ignorance, just see, look at this. I will read in English. Failing to recognize the innate wisdom among this array of habitual conceptual thought. So the ignorance is obscuration of the mind, that because of that ignorance, it failed to recognize the foundation of the nature of the space, nature of the mind. See? So this array of habitual conceptual thoughts, our tangled mess of afflictive emotions continues to wander in the samsara. So then, because of that ignorance, then we continue of that habit. Sikaram. Here, so the ignorance is the habit. That habit is deeply rooted, and that continued day after day, year after year, life after life. That failed to recognize the emptiness nature of all phenomena. That obscure the pure mind. Then within that, not just ignorance, that there's a lot of other afflictions, mental afflictions. In the midst of the mental afflictions, which makes all the duality, good and bad, right or wrong, we have all this dualistic, in the mind, dualistic thoughts. Then it's just continued. See, that's what is called, you see, continued to wander in the samsara. Just look at the mind that, see, first the ignorance. Here, ignorance, it doesn't mean like a slave or dumb. The ignorant person, those who we have the ignorance in the mind, sometimes we're very smart, we're very smart creating all the problems. Just for example, look at the making all the weapons. You see, nowadays, you see, the powerful, the country who has a lot of wealth, they are making such great weapons. Out of that mind, it becomes so smart how to make all the weapons to destroy whole world in a 1 second, If you are not smart enough, how you can make it? Very smart. But it's a dualistic, see, duality. I have to win. They have to lose on the basis of the ignorance. Then there's attachment and aversion, which is coming here, you see. There you see. So first look at that. Then after that, what is said here, this is very important point now. Buddha, great Nagarjuna, and Jigten Sumgon all talked. It is the body that cycles through samsara. Now, if you ask which wanders in the samsara, says the body is the wanderer in the samsara. Now, this body is not just only physical body, flesh and bone, but mental body as well. Combined, this physical and the mental together. See, this is very profound. Through samsara, our propensities of karma, afflictions and suffering. So these three, you see, first, these afflictions. Affliction, I mentioned, like self-grasping, self-cherishing, ignorance, attachment, aversion, mental afflictions. Then, because of that, we create the karma. Good karma, bad karma, all different types of karma. Then as a result, different types of suffering. Here, suffering does not mean only pain and pain. You know, there are three different types of suffering. See, pervasive suffering, which is neutral. And suffering of change is happiness, joy in the samsara, and suffering of suffering. So there are three different types of suffering. So all in the samsara, whatever different types of suffering we have, is because of the cause we have created. That kind of cause is created by our mental afflictions. So this, first look at that. Cycle, now that kind of, this cycles, now these three, you see, without mental afflictions, we cannot create the cause, karma, conditions. Without the cause, there cannot be had result. So the result, the effect, and the cause, the karma, and mental afflictions, these three cycles, one after another, So it's very profound, very important. It makes it complete, So cycle through samsara in dependence upon a body. So we go through this now through the body, you see. So now this is very important. We reflect how the body wanted samsara. Now we identify the body, say animal, human beings. Within the human being, there are so many races. See, this, we call this called Asians, Americans, Westerns. And then, within that, there are so many different types. All this would differentiate because of the body, not because of the mind. Nobody can see the mind, See, we all have the mind, but nobody can see it. But we can distinguish. And then the different races, different color, white, black, red, yellow, all these different colors. It's because of the body. First of all, you see this. Then you see, first we are born, it's because of the body. We was born in the world. After birth, then we age, slowly, slowly, no, baby, teenage, 20s, 30s, 40s, old age, no, then aging. See, after aging, then what we have? Sickness, different types of sickness, and finally we die. This is universal. Anywhere we go, we can see this. It's because the body. See, you see, make sense? These are very important. We should understand universal, how everything constitutes within this universal. That's the Gongchik. So Gongchik, Gongba Chik, you see, means sometimes they translate as single intention. I think single intention is very narrow, means like a complete one holistic nature. So there's not good translation in English, the Gongchik. But what means the wisdom of the Buddha, one nature, see. So that's the Gongchik, what I'm just talking, yesterday I mentioned this text. Now, a lot of Gongchik teachings are contained here. So I'm just sharing few of those things. So anyhow, as a body wanders means, you see, because the body, we need a house. See, if we don't have body, we don't need house, you see. Now how much we have to work hard to get a house. Look at this, you see. How much we have to work hard to make a house. Then we need a car because the body. See, we need a TV because the body. We need a good food because the body. See? Then we just, we socialize, all here and there, meet people, talk to the people because the body. Then within that, you see how much mental activities are manifest. We create different conditions, cause. And because of that, then, see, we experience. So it's not something karma come from somewhere, but every day, every moment, we're creating the karma. We're experiencing the cause of the karma. Every moment, moment to moment, is the reflection. So whole our life is a reflection of our mind. Reflection, the cause we have created. So look at this. Just meditate on this. These are the very important points. Until we realize this, no matter we say it's empty, it's Rigpa, but still we are not there, we are not there, Rigpa, Even though it's within us, but it's so close, but so far. You see, you have received so much about the Rigpa, Dzogchen, Mahamudra, all those you have received so much, you see. You know it, but in the practical level, it's still so far. So that's why these things are such very important. We cannot ignore these things. As other day I mentioned, the relative state of our life is as important as the ultimate. The enlightenment is important of course, but by ignoring our relative life doesn't help us to achieve the ultimate. First, we need to take care of the relative state. And where this know it, understand it, then we follow step by step, you see, sort out, you see, then we can get there. So first, but these are first very important in our daily life. Look at all the mental activities. That becomes a form, formation. That formation is a reflection of the mind. From the reflection of the formation, then it manifests the result. So that's what's called interdependent, interconnected. See, so look at this first, reflect on this. Then you see, so now you understand the body. So also you see, mind itself is just clear, empty. It's a clarity, luminosity. But all these mental activities are mental formations, called mental body. So this life, next life is transition because of the body. From this life body and next life's body. See, it makes the connection. So it's make the connection through the mental formation. So look at this, and then you say, okay. That's why I see with the loving kindness, a pure loving kindness, pure compassion that reflects the mind in a such way it makes the result is a peace, harmony, because that peace and harmony is a reflection of the pure love and compassion. See? So this is nothing to the religion, you see. It is you can see, it is the mental formation. See? That reflects to our body. See? So this gross body is the reflection of the mind. So that's why I said Dharma study practice is not just a religious training. As I mentioned, actually everybody all over the world need to reflect on this, have to practice this. It's not just, as I mentioned, religious training, also Buddhist training. This is the training of the reality nature for everybody. So you all please reflect on this, and then you can share this with others. Because in the past, even nowadays, all the great teachers, they see Buddhism as a religion, a religious training. It's believe or not believe your choice. Of course, it is your choice. But when you come to the point of this suffering and non-suffering, there's not much choice. See? If we understood, because of lack of understanding, then we suffer without choice, you see? The lot of sufferings we are going through without choice because we haven't made a right course, you see? Make sense? So this is the very important point. We just reflect on this. Yes. This is what Buddha's message is about. A lot of our great teachers, they will teach you Buddhism as a religion. So you should have something like ethics, pure ethics without depend on the religion, But all the good basis, cause for peace and happiness. It's the mind. Ethics, who holds the ethics? It's the mind holds the ethics. Without the mind, how the body can do it? So the body is, and the mind work together. That's why it's called, it's body which wanders in the samsara. So body, there's a physical gross body and mental body. So please understand that. Yeah. Then he said, the next, if I read, the countless types of mental afflictions. So there are now, as I mentioned, there's countless mental afflictions. But we know roughly the desire, attachment, aversion, hatred, and ignorance. These are called three poisons, as you know now. And then there are five, if you say, pride, jealousy. So these are called five mental poisons, or three mental poisons. And all the rest, there are, there are called 84,000 types of mental afflictions. So many, are the creator of our samsaric existence. So these are dualistic thought. So within this mental affliction, sometimes there's a afflicted loving kindness, afflicted compassion. There is a empathy, sympathy. Even though it's within this delusion, but some there's good thoughts you have, you see. So please understand that. Sometimes we say mental affliction means always bad, 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 bad. No, it is not bad, The mixture. But this all exists within the dualistic hemisphere. Dualistic dimension. Okay. So this we should understand that. So within that, even though you have such great emotion, but from that emotion, there's a compassion, there's loving kindness, maybe limited loving kindness, limited compassion, but still you have compassion and loving kindness, you see. So these are the cause for peace and happiness, you see. But these are the capital. From the limited love and compassion, then we expand from there, which we'll discuss later. All this about. And see, so how our world is created. Now you see, all these mental activities, you see. Just like, as I mentioned, our internet and all this now news, these technologies, you see, now you can see all these technologies now they were using, including the Zoom here. It's the mind created. See. And this can be good and bad both, you see. Like here we are discussing Dharma, sharing the wisdom of Buddha, all this is very good thing. Gives us clear wisdom, understanding what all about this. But then there are some who are using all the negative message, and destructive misinformations, make chaos in the society, So this is just neutral. See, but if you know how to take advantage, there's a lot of benefits there. So this is all mental body. mental formation. So physical formation, mental formation, physical body, mental body. Oh, so these are the creating our world, you see. So our peace and happiness which comes within in the mind, not from outside. So first look at this. Then you see, but now, as long as we're the samsara, there's no end of suffering. So no end of suffering is created by this our mental delusions. So now here we'll explain some of these negative work of the mental afflictions. They work each other, they support each other, and then make more delusions, more sufferings. It helps to continue one after another. So if I read this, some of their negative work is suffering and unhappiness. See, when these mental afflictions are there, like discourage, or you say jealous, or pride, these negative thoughts, see, then they manifest this suffering in the mind. So the suffering predicament, suffering and unhappiness, restlessness, where in the world, in the restlessness, cannot sit still, always busy, and muddled thought. Our mind is not clear, making untoward both this life and next life. Then it just spoils our life. That destroys this life, next life. So all just, you see, because of these mental afflictions. So these are important to recognize so that we can practice Dharma. See, we have the Dharma, you see. This is very important. If we don't have the Dharma, if we don't have the remedy for this, then talking about these things are useless. It makes us more depressed. So then you can say, please don't talk about so much. I'm more depressed, Here we have to bring these things so that I can utilize the Dharma. I have the wisdom of the Buddha. I have the skill. So I recognize this and then purify them. So this is why we need to little bit reflect. So also, please don't take personally. Sometimes say, I don't like this, So don't take it as a personally, but just take it as a like car, objective. Just look from the distance. Just look at whether it makes sense or not. Look at this. It's very important, So now here, the afflictions create the suffering of becoming, birth, and the rest. Now here, the affliction, first ignorance, then attachment, so forth. They call the 12 interdependent link. You see, the ignorance, then mental formations, consciousness, becoming, and then increasing field, so forth. Step by step, it becomes the 12 interdependent link because it's the first mental afflictions that wanders in the samsara, corrupt our happiness and virtue. These mental afflictions, when our life is peaceful, when there's a happiness, like you're enjoying your lunch, but as soon as some mental afflictions manifest, it destroys all. while you are eating such a delicious lunch, it makes the lunch undelicious because of mental affliction. You see, so it corrupts your lunch. Nobody can corrupt your lunch, but just by your mental afflictions, you see. You are sitting outside in the garden with the beautiful, sunshine, all those beautiful. And then as soon as the mental afflictions manifest, it corrupts that your just pleasant, beautiful time you have. Nobody can do this, except in our own mind. You may hear different news, but if our mind is strong enough, this news cannot affect your mind. But this news affects our mind very easily because our mind is afflicted. You see, so that affliction, what we have, it corrupts our happiness, peace. It's because of mental afflictions, you see. So it corrupts our happiness and virtue. All our virtues destroys because of the mental afflictions. And obstructs our liberation, means we want to free from samsara. Everybody wants to free from suffering. But it pulls back because our mental afflictions, you see. We're entangled in the samsara. The samsara, we just let in within the samsara because of these mental afflictions. It's so demanding, So just look at the mental afflictions, what kind of side effect it has. Just see this. Then discourage and exhaust us, you see. You want to do some good things, meditate, do some good things, then mental affliction manifests, discourage you to do this. No, just no, get rid of this, no, don't worry about it, And then you are so tired because of the mental afflictions. You see? So just look at this, meditate on this, just say if it makes sense or not. Oh, yes. Reflect on this. So these are these are the real looking at the psychology of the mind. There is cause us to squander our leisure and endowments, so our precious human life, which is 18 excellent qualities, favorable. We have the favorable conditions, but it squanders, it destroys because of mental afflictions. Our precious human life that we have, we just waste it here, there, without reflecting the Dharma. It's because of mental afflictions. And led us to the lower realms. It leads us to the lower realm because of mental afflictions. Nobody can throw us in the lower realm. Even Buddha cannot throw us in the lower realm. Even the God cannot throw us in the lower realm. But it does by our mental afflictions. So you see, look at how Buddha has great wisdom, great compassion to share this to us. because these are so hidden subject. You cannot see this from machine. No matter how sophisticated machine we have, technology we have, that machine cannot demonstrate the depth of the mental afflictions. But Buddha's wisdom gives us this great wisdom. See this, then you can say, oh, I wonder why I'm suffering so much. Sometimes you feel in the hell realm. No? Then sometimes you say, I haven't done any bad thing, why I deserve these things. But you see, our mental afflictions underneath creating all these conditions. So need to reflect on this. Then you see, the mental afflictions wake up and stabilize the dormant propensity for grasping as real ignorance. You see, the mental afflictions, the wake up means not wake up from the sleep, just they get up, they become fresh, you see. They make you to wake up more mental afflictions. Then we exaggerate when things you like. Then you just imputed more to wake up more, creating more exaggeration, and your desire becomes stronger, or your anger becomes stronger. See, your pride becomes stronger, your jealousy becomes stronger. This universal, you see. Doesn't matter whether you believe in any religions or don't believe in any religions, educated, uneducated, rich or poor. See, everybody shares this, you see. You can see there are some individuals in the market, they're so frustrated, they're suffering so much. It's because of these mental afflictions, you see. So when you have wisdom inside, you can see these things, and then there's a chance to develop loving kindness, compassion, you see. It's not a Buddhist belief. It's the reality nature. So look at this, how Dharma is so precious. So it's not just enough to be a kind, oh yes, it's okay, let go, This is a good practice, but we have to go underneath more, deeper, reveal the layers, deeper layers of these. Then you'll see your Dharma practice can be very effective. Those are great teachers. They explain these things to their students. So because of that, their teachings are so constructive. Teachings are so kind of direct. So their disciples are fully dedicated in the mountain. See, they did not force, say, if you don't go to mountain, I will put in the jail, And they didn't say that, Or the practitioners, they voluntarily went to the mountain and meditated because of this deeper wisdom, instruction penetrated in their mind. And they could see the direct nature of the samsara. And they see how Dharma is precious. It's the only tool, how to work with our mind. So that you see, dormant propensity. So it's just our propensity become deeper and deeper through the continuation of these mental afflictions. That's why it's difficult to kind of lift, difficult to get rid of it. See, grasping as real, everything is real due to the ignorance. Pervade our observation and reinforce each other's. So then our mind go into the wrong direction. Self, I myself, I'm very important. Then because of I'm so important, I'm holding myself, this self-grasping as something real, something concrete. This is how I imputed myself. I self-aggrandize. And then I sacrifice all others for my own self. See, then you see you suffer, your friends suffer, your relatives suffer, then your countrymen suffer, whole world suffers from this. So self-grasping, is not a Buddhist belief. Sometimes we say Buddhist belief selflessness, something like selflessness is something believe, or self is something you believe. So now this Buddha's teaching, usually I repeat this universal way. It's all imputed. That's called relative state, conventional state, relative state. Everything's constituted in the relativity state. Everything's relative. Relative means, when there's more suffering. When there's a small suffering, the small suffering is small because there's a bigger suffering. See, if there's no bigger suffering, how you can say it's a small suffering? And that small suffering can become big if there's a smaller. You see, that's called relative. So relative state. In Tibetan, it's called kunzop. Kunzop means all this relative state is under the condition of the ignorance. See? So look at this, meditate, reflect. So precious, You should feel so really great joy. What kind of wonderful, great message, information of the Buddha's teaching. For everybody. So, and so continue without interruption. So that kind of say continued without interruption means there's no real good wisdom. To interrupt, we need a great wisdom, special insight. We don't have that. So without interruption, it goes day after day, year after year, life after life, So look at these. Now just reflect on this. So the affliction cause propensities decline in both existence and peace. So the propensity of these mental afflictions, it declines the propensity, these it's called, the peace and happiness of samsara and the nirvana, both, as earlier mentioned, and are objects of criticism of false sublime beings. somebody says, some great teacher says, this person is not good. It's not good because his mental afflictions. If that person misbehaves, if it misbehaved because his mental afflictions. So that's why Buddha said, I usually I quote from the ayat, there was 400 stanza, Buddha sees all the mental afflictions as enemy, not the person who has them. See? But we blame to that person who misbehave without realizing his misbehave is from these mental afflictions. So we have to recognize, we should distinguish the person and the person who has the mental afflictions. You see, the person who has a mental affliction, he or she is suffering because of mental affliction. He doesn't want suffering, but mental afflictions. So we should have such great compassion to that person. So we should try our best to get rid of the mental afflictions of that person, not to destroy that person. No. That, you see, needs such a kind of very fine demarcation. Needs such great wisdom to see that, to recognize this. You see how amazing the Buddha's wisdom. And that's why it makes sense we practice Dharma. Not just chanting mantra, This other dimension. You chant mantra, of course, but on the base of this wisdom. But if we chant mantra with anger, we chant mantra with attachment, we chant mantra with pride and jealousy, that becomes cause of suffering. See? Instead of become a cause for peace and happiness, they become cause of suffering, you see. So we chant millions of mantras, but with very little emphasis on our motivation. So therefore, we should know how to practice the Dharma. Then while you are walking, while you are cooking, while you are driving, you can practice Dharma. See? You can practice Dharma anywhere. When you are convinced about this, when we have the conviction about the reality and nature of the mental afflictions, and Dharma practices will root in our heart. That's why, as I mentioned now, we need Buddhism more than ever before. So every one of you have responsibility to share with all others. It's not just a religious training. It's not just a religious belief, but it's really substantially for peace and happiness. How just look at this, our environment nowadays, the climate change, you see, that did not come without cause. It comes from these mental afflictions, the greed, you see. The greed established out of ignorance, out of our self-attachment, without appreciation, So you see, for all these reasons, it is clear that there is immeasurable fault in this collection of mental afflictions. So look at these mental afflictions. Now, as I mentioned, within that, of course, there is a limited loving kindness, compassion. There are some people are so wonderful, such a great heart. They have such a great big heart to others. But we should have such a skill to express these things, then help change the society. So now how we can get rid of these mental afflictions here, of course, which explain later, no more. But just how to handle these things now. If I read the last, the verse, because the afflictions have no sickness and death. So you see, ignorance and attachment, desire, anger, frustrations, pride, jealousy. Now, have you noticed if they're getting sick? Have you noticed they are going to die? Say that my health of the mental affliction is not so good. If anybody is talking about that, is there any doctor? No, to refresh your attachment. My attachment is getting sick. I need a medicine for this. So you look at it, our whole life we have these mental afflictions. They never get sick. They never die, you see. That's why in the world, they don't have how to handle this. So that's why they don't talk about it, you see. They make a law. If you against the law, break the law, you put in the jail. That's that much. But there's no real good systematic teachings on this. See? So therefore, what we need here is, samsara will be without beginning or end. You see, well, we have these mental afflictions. The samsara has no beginning, there's no end because of these mental afflictions. Now, what we should do is, until concurrent shamatha vyavasana. You see, here shamatha means karma abiding. Your mind calm, samadhi is called samadhi, karma abiding. Then vipassana, special insight. Not nowadays, there are some say vipassana is just walking vipassana, now these things, This vipassana is special insight, critical insight. Concurrent means is synchronize, you see, synchronize the karma abiding and special insight. When they come together, cut them off at the root. Then only we can cut them from the root. These mental afflictions are totally get rid of through this samadhi and prajna, you see. Wisdom, the transcendental wisdom and the total combination of this karma abiding. Meanwhile, we need practices to slow down these mental afflictions. So looking at the impermanence, which will come. And then loving kindness, compassion, tolerance, those practices will help us to minimize, reduce their strength. But to get rid of totally is this two, the concurrent of shamatha and vipassana. Okay. Then next, now number third, if you ask when this confusion began, he said, no beginning, the time frame of confusion. There's no beginning, so there's no somewhere started. This is just to understand, if you ask, which came first, chicken or egg? You see. If you ask which came first, chicken or egg, no, without chicken, no egg, no chicken. This is what is. Now, just understand that. Otherwise, says, this is strange, Now here, only 2 verses. Self-expressivity arises unceasingly from the all basis equalness, Dharma Dhatu, you see, as earlier mentioned. This is self-expressivity means manifesting effortlessly, from within. That manifests from within emptiness, from within all-pervading phenomena. See. So, yes, all basis equalness, Dharma Dhatu. This is patterned by the confusion of fundamental non-knowing. So from within that, without realizing that nature, then, so as earlier mentioned, by the cause of the ignorance, then so you see the confusion. So due to the ignorance, not realizing nature of that basic, the basic Dhamma Dhatu, the basic emptiness, all-pervading emptiness is not realized due to the ignorance, and then confusion just now manifest. Pattern of the confusion of fundamental non-knowing and ingrained as pernicious grasping as real. Then we're ingrained with all these mental afflictions. And within that pernicious dimension, grasping everything as real. See this. So our work, now these are just, we have to look at how to work with. When I practice Dharma, what should I have to work to get rid of? Look at this, very important. Until the cloud of conceptual thought, perfused since beginningless time on the free of arising and ceasing sky of Dharma, sky of mind as it is, are scattered by the wind of the wisdom, we will continue to experience our own self-made suffering. So see, now this is a beautiful kind of metaphor. Our mind is the sky, pervading. And within that sky, then there's a cloud. So this is under the cloud of conceptual thought. See, the conceptual thought from the sky manifests the cloud. From the mind as such, then the conceptual thoughts manifest. See, so it's profuse, since beginner's time. So in the free of arising and ceasing, the mind is free of arising and ceasing, because this, like the sky, there's no beginning, there's no end. Likewise, the mind as such, there's no beginning, there's no end. But the cloud, there's the mind as such, as it is. So the cloud manifests within that, the mind of the sky. So what we need to chase away these clouds of mental afflictions, this cloud of conceptual thoughts. See, so you say, as if they are not scattered by the wind of the wisdom, then we will continue to experience our own self-made suffering. The suffering that we are going through is our own made. Nobody made for us, but we created. So look at this. So that there's no beginning. Now suffering is so much in the world. And there's no end of the suffering until the wisdom and shamatha combined. Now I must work. I must make effort. I cannot destroy myself. No. That nobody destroy me, but it's by myself. I have to make effort. So reflect on this. These are why we need to practice Dharma. But through this wisdom, through this understanding, why we need to practice Dharma. Now you understand, Dharma is not just a religion you believe, but Dharma is the method to uproot the cause of suffering. Okay. Now, number 4, if you ask what's the entity of the confusion, how we can identify the confusion, the self-fixation, self-grasping. It's a self-grasping, or first we imputed the self and then grasping on it. No. See, now this is the self-awareness, unrecognized, then becomes self-grasping as self. Our self-awareness means the mind as it is. It's called rangrik, in Tibetan, rangrik. So rang is the self, rik is awareness. So we translate as a self-awareness. Basically, your luminosity of the mind that have failed to recognize. So that's why I say unrecognized. Then we are holding as a self. Self, ego. Self-appearance, misunderstood, grasped as objects. Then from within that luminosity of the mind is not just mere empty. All this appearance. Appearance means manifestation. The manifestation of the luminosity of the mind, not recognized as this mind's manifestation, but we see as an object. So we're grasping on that. So it's saying self-appearance misunderstood, you see, grasped as object. So now subject and object. I myself as a subject, and that is the object. We created the duality. See? So see, this is how we have to identify how we confuse, what the identity of the confusion. As soon as when you recognize all this object is the manifestation of the luminosity of the mind, then there's no confusion. See, have you heard of this story? When Marba was with Narupa, he manifested Vajra in the sky. When Narupa manifested Vajra in the sky, and then Narupa told Marpa, now here you have choice. Narupa here is your guru. And Vajra is your yidam in the front of you. No. You see. Now, first, to whom you pay homage? Your lama or your yidam? No. Marpa thought, I see Narupa every day, but I don't see my yidam every day. So today I see the yidam is so precious, So then Marpa did his homage to yidam Vajra. And then Narupa said, Vajra is my emanation, my manifestation. So Vajra dissolved into Narupa, See? So that's how confusion, you see. If Marpa thought, oh, this my Lama, he embodies all. So this yidam is his emanation, his manifestation, then there's no confusion. See? Make sense? This is very important. Your mind can manifest both good and bad in the duality state. See? But we don't realize that. See? So that's why I mentioned both the relative state, ultimate state are equally important, because without the ultimate, there's no relative. Without relative, there's no ultimate. See? So, but we need such a wisdom to see this nature. So that's why here, self-appearance misunderstood, grasped as object. Oh, you see how emotionally afflicted are we sentient beings, trapped in the wheel of samsara by this dualism, you see. We should see this. Sentient beings are trapped within the duality without realizing yourself and the manifestation of yourself. We always just play within the duality and we suffer helplessly. No. That's why I need to practice Dharma. See, this is how to practice Dharma. So your practice of Dharma is not just to escape something. No. When you go to retreat, it's not something you escape from the society. But for the good of the society, you go to retreat. See? So just meditate on this. Make your confirmation. See? Then next is holding. Now to look at this, you see, this because of the self here is saying holding unclean to be clean. Just look at our body, is source of all the unclean, but we're clean. We're holding as a clean. You know? Am I clean? You see, do I smell my something? You know? Do I need to go to shower? See, but we are just holding to somebody is unclean. So, I smell so bad, you know, without realizing how smelly ourselves, you see. But this is our confusion, you see. So then you see, holding unclean to be clean. Impermanent to be permanent. We are so impermanent, so fragile, but something we are holding permanent. This is me from yesterday, today, tomorrow. This is when I was young. Now I'm getting old, still me. Something like grasping as a permanent. See? Then the suffering to be happiness. We don't realize how vulnerable our nature of the suffering itself. Now, as I mentioned, the pervasive or conditional suffering, suffering of change, and suffering of suffering, we're in that nature. But still we think, I'm not suffering. Without realizing suffering is underneath, or we are pervaded by the suffering. I'm not saying this all are bad, you know, just to recognize, reflect. Then we put the Dharma practice sincerely. See, and the selfless to possess selfness, where we have no self. No, there's no self. Where if you divide all into pieces, dust particle, there's nothing is there. That's called selfless. But we're holding self, I, self, you know. So these four, then see, these four called pervaded mindset. You know, misinformation, called basically, you know. We have this misinformation, and then we are just holding on that. Anchor us in the artificial and temporary cyclic existence that is samsara, you see. We're just anchored. We are just, you know, entangled within that. So all this artificial, that's called artificial, you know. No self, but holding as a self is artificial. we're going around, I myself, all now, I myself, without realizing how kind of artificial I am, you know. So I am, you know. So I am very artificial, but I'm holding as a self. Just meditate on this. That's why I need to practice Dharma. That's why, you see. This is shared, as mentioned, shared by everybody, you know. Now then, number 5 is, you see, in what way is it confused? In what way we are confused? This also basically is expressed before, but more kind of defining, more kind of say, putting how to understand about this. See, this its suffering is not without cause, without condition. See, when mind as it is not realized to be free of elaboration, the resulting object design is outer and inner, container and content. See, when you don't realize as mind as it is, which is free from all elaboration, everything is shares within that. Nothing is different from that. Everything is within, in the free from elaboration, pervading emptiness. That's the universal reality nature. But when we have not realized, that, then is called the outer, you see. The resulting object design is outer, the outer world, the planet. And the inner sentient beings called outer, inner is that, outer world, inner sentient beings. Container is the outer world, and content is sentient beings. So all the sentient beings are contained within in the outer world. See? All confused of attachment, aversion, the health and halter and the health. And then, see, there's a confusion that I like and I don't like. This is me, this is you. And the object, the grasping, the object grasping, and fixation, the mind. The mind is grasping, mind is grasping the object, as something exists. So this, with this duality, the outer, inner, and the fixated outer, and the grasping, the inner, the mind. So this all play of this duality, this, you see, arises from a fixation on this self and other, you see. Then I and other, we have got fixated, and then we play within that, and then the suffering is there. See, that how this play of the confusion, within in the content and container, outer and inner, and they manifest the suffering. See. So look at this. So, now this is how I understood. It's not only just Buddhist. Everybody, we all share this reality nature. Everybody play on this no, in this dimension. See, in this sphere of the dimension, everybody now, we all are confined within this dimension. See, look at this. Now, next, number 6. Do you need break? Otherwise, we just continue. Need a short break or no need? Some yes, some say yes, some say no.
Break.
Short break.
Okay.
Short break.
Oh, okay, short break. Well, let's first, please take a deep breath. Inhale. And exhale. So now please don't lose our discussions that we went. Just reflect, refresh yourself on this while we are in the break. Om Banza Sato Samaya, Mano Palaya, Bantra Sato Denoba, Dedo Membawa, Sudu Kayo Memba, Subu Kayo Membawa, Anorado Membawa, Sarwa Siti Meprayaza, Sarwa Karma Sudan, Sutana, Shriya, Kuru, Hong, Ha, Ho, Bagawan, Sarwa Tata Gata, Bantra Mame Monza, Banzembawa, Ma Samaya Sato. Okay, thank you. Make this short break.
Where people do Dharma is to for what exactly? Because some people, whenever they do Dharma, it's still, they're still angry for some reason, frustrated, angered, you know. Like, what's the reason?
It's the continuation of the habit. The habit continues when it meets the condition. So you have to reflect on the impermanence.
Because whenever I meditate and try not to think too much, it just I stress my back a bit too much, and it starts bringing me back a lot of, well, bad memories from childhood until now. I've done a lot of regretful things from my past few lives.
You see, as mentioned, is the continuation of the habit. Just reflect. Oh, this is my habit. The habit is continuing.
Even though I'm a changed person, I still have these things bothering me for the past few months, years, days.
Yeah. So
I still carry it around with me to tell myself that never to do these mistakes, but people just keeps on telling me to forget, and whenever I forget, I would sometimes tend to do these things without even noticing.
Yeah, the habits manifest without notice, without any notice, it just pops up. Yeah, it just pops up without any notifying you, The habit will not say, here, I'm coming, It just pops up.
It's just that I just wish that maybe I could just, well, be a better person. But it comes back to bite me all the time.
Yeah, you need to remind yourself, frequently.
Yeah, I'll try to.
Just say this is habit. Sometimes we forget, Okay. Now everybody's in?
Thank you.
Om Bandra Sato Samaya, Mano Balaya, Bandra Sato Denoba, Didan Dedo Memba Wa, Sudu Kayo Memba Wa, Subu Kayo Memba, Anorado Memba Wa, Sarwa Sede Me Prayasa, Sarwa Karma Susame, Zedan, Shriya Kuru Hungo Ha Ha Ha, Bhagawana Sarwa Tatangata, Betra Mamem. Manzembara ma samaya sato. Okay. Now again, please inhale fully and expand your chest and exhale. Thank you. Now, regarding the second subject here, how we are confused in the samsara, or what is the samsaric confusion. So we are looking into that section. So there are 7 points. So from the 7 points, we just reflected, we finish up to 5. Yes, now it's number 6, I think. Okay. Yeah, the result. So the number 6. Number 6 is the result of being thus confused. Now, so what's the result of the confusion in the samsara? So this is also good to reflect. The affliction are both cause and condition for arising of all karmas from that karma. So means from cause. Cause is caused by the cause. This is the cause because of that cause. So like that. So it's all depends on the causes and conditions. It's not independent. So as I mentioned, it is the interdependent. So what it does is that manifests the 6 realms of samsara, state oppressed by the 3 sufferings. As you know, it's the 6 realms. Usually in the Dharma it says 6 realms, but obviously we can see the 2, human beings and animals. And within the animals, within the human beings, you can see very precisely the 6 realms. In the human realms, some human beings are so privileged. Some are very privileged, very successful business people, corporations. Their life is like a God realm. They have so much, mentions, good things. It's like a God realm. And there are some human beings have nothing. Suffering is so much from the outer condition, heat, cold. From inner condition, no food, no clothes. So you can see it very obvious, clear. But they're just, going to change. In the animal, you see some animals, they are much better off than others. Usually animals, you can see, even though they are smart, but when you come to the join to the virtue, non-virtue, right or wrong, then they don't have much sense, you see. So some are suffering so much, that some are tortured so much, especially nowadays, because there's a lot of equipments. Now people have become so smart how to trap like in the ocean or in the world outside, due to the technologies, science and technology. So there's so much advanced to do these things, how to persecute, how to kill animals. So much suffering is there, you see. Oh, no. So you can imagine, you see, Look at these, just, just reflect on this nature. It will give us such great opportunity to develop awareness, responsibilities, and practice of love and compassion. So for this, we need these conditions to see as reality how they go through in the human realms, in the animal realms. Look at this. So, so everybody is oppressed by the suffering or the cause of suffering. We think in the world we are so free, independent. Yes, in one way, yes, we are free, independent. But when you look at our mental afflictions, we're not so much, we don't have much freedom. We're oppressed by our mental afflictions. We're oppressed by our own suffering. Look at this. There's some people living in such an expensive, beautiful palace, house, building, but their suffering is so much. You look at these things. So this, I'm not saying all the bad things, but just need to reflect on this. See, there you can see, Dharma makes sense. Artificially, yes, this is beautiful, that's wonderful, this is all great, and all this in the artificial, you see. You explain all this, how beautiful things are. But beyond that, look at the reality nature. Then you see the suffering is so much, see? And then look at that. That's the wisdom of the Buddha that gives us how to practice Dharma. Look at the artificials, like beautiful parks that they made. Sometimes those so beautiful parks are designed to make a pure land. It's real, these parks, they spend so much money, beautiful, the trees, flowers, different types of trees, beautiful flowers. You can walk around, you enjoy. It's wonderful, but go beyond that. Then there are individuals who are suffering so much. So you appreciate the beauty of this world. At the same time, how much we're oppressed by our mental afflictions. We just meditate on this, reflect on this, you see. So there's a state oppressed by the three sufferings. Thus, this variegated wheel of becoming, various types of samsara, does not come from nothing. These all many different things in the human realm, in the animal realms. You see, they don't manifest it without cause. See, no, without cause and conditions, but arises from the confusion, will of one's own mind. You know, this will of mind means the own mind just think one after another. You know? The confusion is a wheel. You know, within that going round. Here, wheel means going round. Within that, you know, turning round, and then all the mental afflictions manifest, and then all these results manifest in the six realms. You know? And so it's the object to be realized by the wheel of wisdom. So this wheel of confusion can only realize by the wheel of wisdom. So here, as I mentioned before, wheel of wisdom means a complete wisdom, not a partial wisdom. Need a one complete wisdom to tackle the confusion of this samsara. See, see, now in that, some of the time, from beginningless time through today, we have enjoyed the glory of the gods. So as I mentioned, you know, sometimes we enjoy so much. Life is beautiful, precious. Then some of the time we have experienced the blazing fires of hell. And within that, in the hell realm, relentlessly we are burned in the fire, suffering. See, it just becomes, it's just, you know, we can we migrate from the glory of the God realm to the hell realm, sometimes from the hell realm to the God realm, or we migrate and we go around and suffer like that, unending. But these experiences of happiness and suffering are no more than a dream to us now. See, just look at in your life, in our life, in my life. She says, no, sometimes I enjoy. My life is beautiful, so wonderful, you know, like in the God realm. But sometimes my life is just such a torturing, suffering, like in the hell realm. Oh, it's just like a dream now, past. Right now, I'm looking at here, at this moment, this all just gone. It's like a dream. Just meditate on this, reflect. Everybody has this kind of experience. Even rich people, sometimes they say their life was like a hell realm. You know? They express, you know, some princess, you know, they say that, you know, everybody admire them, you know, they are so, what's it called, they are such a highly respected place. But then when they explain, it was like a hell realm, you know, it was, I was suicidal, they say there, you know. See, you see, It's because they are within the samsara. Again, I'm not saying this is bad, but this is how in the samsara is about. So we as a Dharma practitioner, we need to remind these things. Just see the hidden subject of the samsara. What is underneath of the samsara? We reflect on this and meditate on this. Why we need to practice Dharma. Why I should practice Dharma. It's not only me, but for others, everywhere, all over the world. We need this message, everybody, all over the world. Just reflect, meditate, see. And you see, but everything's like a dream. They come and go. So that what it gives us the wisdom is there's not so much thing to attach to. There are some people who are the life is like a guardrail. They're so attached to that. They're so pernicious about their attachment, their life, the beautiful life. Difficult to release, you see. Even though maybe intellectually I should be free from this, but practically so ingrained in the mind, the grasping. Look at this, meditate, See, all manner of attractive things are possible with the modern science and technology. You see, because of this modern 21st century, the science and technologies, all these different equipments, so advanced. There are a lot of possibilities there. You see, and everybody is working on that. How to make something new. So those individuals, they can become a millionaire, billionaire, maybe a trillionaire, See, they're looking forward that so they can go to the space, Mars, and some other planets, But all this hearsay now, but trying to obtain happiness from them is like trying to quench our thirst with the mirage river. Okay. It's a good thing. You see, reflect on this. Can you drink mirage river? Mirage river, water? So it means there is some excitement, of course, no doubt. There's excitement. There is happiness there, but total happiness to be obtained by these technologies is not possible because they are impermanent, you see. They change. So we study, practice about these things. They will just say if the Dharma makes sense or not. Before, this Zoom is, discovered or start, we don't have these things. After we discovered this, after we got this, it made it much easier, you see. to communicate. But to have the real peace and happiness, you can see those who are somehow talking on the Zoom, they're suffering so much, So you see, so this is very, 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 really good, modern science and technologies, but trying to obtain happiness from them is like trying to quench our thirst with the mirage water. We can use them good way to help others. Even Dharma, if you don't practice, Dharma is nothing special. You can talk about Bodhicitta so much, but if you don't practice Bodhicitta, nothing special. So you have to practice, you see. First get the message, then put into practice. So this is the point, you see. So in our life, we appreciate, rejoice the opportunity we have. The beautiful opportunity that we are using this. Just rejoice, appreciate. This is such a great, wonderful activities. Then put into practice. Instead of attached to this. So, you see, while wanting happiness, we experience only suffering in the world, in the samsara. Well, we're wanting happiness, but actually we're suffering. And we will not find release from this abysmal suffering. The precipice, we're within the precipice, rocky mountain, ready to fall into, the suffering. Until we have abandoned our karma and afflictions. See, all Dharma practice, as I mentioned, we have to purify mental afflictions and then reduce the karma, negative karma, or activities, actions, reduce this. We each must do our own investigation into this. So this we investigate ourselves. We say, no, this is what Buddha said. You have to follow. First, we have to understand what Buddha said. See, so that's why the Buddha, the famous quotation Buddha said, all the scholars, monks, investigate my teaching thoroughly. See, like the goldsmith, examine the gold. Don't take my teaching as a devotion, for the devotion. Means practice. Investigate means doesn't mean you should find something Buddha said wrong thing, See, sometimes people make that misunderstanding. So when Buddha said you should investigate my teaching, means what Buddha made a mistake. Buddha will never make mistake, okay? But investigate means we to understand what Buddha said. We to get the conviction what Buddha said. So that first we have to study, then we have to contemplate. So then we have to put into practice. That's what Buddha said, investigate. Buddha didn't say, no, you should follow my teaching blindly. See? So that's why Buddha said, don't follow person, but follow the Dharma. Chola in Tibetan, Kansala Medum, Chola Dun, you see. Don't follow person, but follow the Dharma. See, that's why other day I mentioned, Buddha didn't say, you just chant my mantra, worship me, I will solve your problems, See, Buddha said, you practice Dharma that I taught. So practice is very important. If we don't practice Dharma, even though we may know so much, we may have such great wisdom in the Buddhist philosophy, but to solve the suffering, it doesn't help. We have to practice meditation, you see, step by step. Even you know one word, just practice that, put into practice. So that, you see, when we attain unsurpassable enlightenment, we will find the nature of confusion to be none other than wisdom. See, so this is very important, you see. Now, why we, as I mentioned, why we have to practice Dharma? Realize the confusion. What is the confusion? Where the confusion exists? Now, what's the cause of confusion? What's the condition of the confusion? All this investigate. And then we put into practice. Purify mental afflictions, all this. Then they said, no, when we attain unsurpassable enlightenment, we will find the nature of the confusion to be none other than wisdom. You see, the confusion itself is nothing but wisdom. When you realize, like you see, well, I'm holding myself now, I'm grasping myself. So now look at myself. I'm so pernicious grasping on myself. No, I'm totally now entangled within that confusion of the grasping self. And then look, I just relax, look at it. Where is myself? I treat myself as so important. Where? Look at it. Inside, outside, anywhere. Then I will come to see the self that I'm grasping is nothing but illusion. It exists nowhere. So then I come to realize where I'm treating myself so badly, grasping the self. I think I'm treating myself so good by holding myself as a self. But in reality, I'm destroying my peace and happiness by grasping to myself. So that's the wisdom that I see. Confusion is nothing but empty. So it's called the emptiness of the wisdom. So you realize the self is nothing but empty. When you realize as empty, so confusion is nothing but empty. See? So then you see, you look at yourself, how much I was confused. Still you, When you are confused, it's you. When only all the confusion dissolved, it's still you, you know. You are still there. You see how it made difference. That's called Buddha's wisdom. How Buddha's wisdom can help us to free from all the suffering. See? And all that will remain of suffering will be its name. So all the suffering is just a name. It's nothing there. It's just illusion. That's called illusion. One time is so become important, then another time it's just nothing, you know. It's like a toy, a baby toy, you know. For the baby, you buy the toy. The toy is very important. See, if you try to take from the baby, it will cry. Oh, don't take my baby, no, my toy. This is my car. This is my thing. This is my thing. All this, the toys are so important to the baby, you know. But when the baby grown up, you know, teenage, they will not care. You say, this is your toy. No, get rid of it. So now we have a car. No, we have aeroplane. There's a baby, you know. We're the baby. When you realize this, they are just a car, an illusory car. No. But look at you, see. Just example, no, I usually give this example. Suppose I have a good car, no, an expensive car. And then because I have the car, it's very sensitive for me. If somebody touches, I don't like, you know, to touch, because I'm afraid somebody will scratch my car, you know, or make maybe some damage, you know. It's very sensitive. It's because it's my car. But that moment, if you sell the car to other agent, you sold the car to other agent, at that very moment, as soon as you release that, say my car is sold to somebody else, then you don't care about the car. That car, I'm saying, you know. If somebody touches, you don't care because it's not yours. So see, self-grasping. You look at this, meditate on this. That's the Dharma practice, you see. So then we just reflect about the compassion, loving kindness to others. So that's what we're talking about, you see. This is the way to annihilate confusion, see. So this is saying, all this in the 6 realms, all the sufferings that we go through, that's the result of the confusion. But if we practice Dharma, this all are nothing but illusory nature. Everything's annihilated. We are free from the suffering. No, you can be very rich, but no suffering. No. So that's the beauty of the Dharma practice, wisdom of the Buddha. See. Now the 7th, last one. So now if somebody asks, can you give me some example what confusion is like, you know? It's an example of this confusion. During sleep, and dream, we are burned by fire, carried away by flood, and the like. We either experience the happiness and suffering. So this, like in the dream, you see, we're dreaming like flood. Nowadays you see there's a lot of rain, see coming in India, China, the people are just taken by the flood. You see, like you have such kind of dream in the sleep, that kind of nightmare, suffering so much in the dream. But as soon as you wake up, does not exist. Or like a fire burn in the dream. That time, there's so much excitement. There's so much suffering. But as soon as you wake up, there's no fire. So you just say a dream. Or you say, as soon as when you wake up, there's no flood. It's a dream. No suffering. So our samsaric suffering is like that. See? All is called wrapped ourselves in a protective cocoon. Cocoon is an insect produces silk from the mouth, and then it's wrapped up by that silk. It's called cocoon, So we are wrapped up by our mental affliction, ourself, and we suffer within that. So there are two examples. One is the cocoon, one is a dream. Okay. So the example of the samsara is like that. So nothing appear to our sense has ever been real. It is experience of a dream state, like it is the hope and fear involved with ignorance, grasping as real, and attachment, aversion that produces our state of samsaric confusion. So these all experiences is just nothing. They are just like a dream. As earlier I mentioned, see, this all, nothing exists right from the beginning. They all are just a manifestation. So it's like a dream, due to the ignorance, attachment, aversion. Then with the fear and hope, we just suffer in the samsara constantly. See, So look at these, as Alia mentioned, as soon as you realize your ignorance is nothing but empty, then the ignorance that what we developed is just wisdom, and there's no suffering. When attachment and aversions are alleviated, purified, there's no suffering. See? So here is now encouraging why we should practice Dharma. All these Dharma instances are, in fact, reflection of our habitual tendency and are illusory, like a bubble or a dew drop. See, just as Alia mentioned, all this appearance, all these different manifestations are just a reflection of our habitual tendencies, our attachment, our aversion. It's just a reflection. It's like a bubble or a dew drop. It's all impermanent. When you see the bubble in the water, it looks big. Or sometimes you make a bubble in the air, huge bubble, and it's so impermanent, so fragile. No, it's just as soon as it drops, then finished. So all these big things we make in the samsara, it's like a bubble. It's like a dewdrop. Just meditate. So release the attachment. Release our aversion. See, the moon reflection on water has no nature of moon. It's just earlier I mentioned, When you see the moon's reflection in the lake, this looks really like moon. You see the moon in the lake, in the water. But you know it is just a reflection. There's no moon. So all these things are just reflection. I is just a reflection. Reflection of my ignorance. I am just I am. As soon as I release the grasping as I, all this my confusion is disappear. So that's the wisdom of the Buddha that we need to practice. But depending as it is on causes and condition, appears as if by magic. So this is all like a magic show, illusory show. When there comes a magician, the magicians would conjures, all this, his trick, and then he show a lot of magics, elephants, horse, money, houses, anything, But he knows that he's showing the magic. And when we see it, we see it as very real. Oh, this is a real elephant. This is a real house. But then when you know it's a magic show, then you say, oh, it's a magic show, beautiful, I like it. But it's a magic show. So this whole samsara is a magic show. Many things put together, and then they make something. And a lot of people are confused in that nature, and they suffer so much. See, so we Dharma practitioners understand that, practice this. Then we can help so many people in the world. You see, okay, so these are the first about the confusion, and now, as I mentioned, this is a very important point, subjects. So please carefully reflect on these. As I mentioned, not as a Buddhism or Buddhist belief, but as the reality and nature of the whole samsara, whole world. Buddhist, non-Buddhist, believer, non-believer, rich or poor, we are all in this dimension. This kind of the causality that we're that were within that is called the constitution of the samsara. How samsara is constituted within this causality of the confusion. So please meditate on this, reflect on this. So why we should practice Dharma, how we can help the world. See, if you believe, if it is a belief system, it's individual's business. It's your choice. But this is something you should see. It's the universal. Now, it is important for all people in the world. It requires a lot of skill, wisdom, courage, without annihilating anyone, without abusing any others, but skillfully, let this wisdom go around and help the people. How we are confused. Look at this. And next is how this confusion purified. Now it comes here. This is the big deal now. We have a few minutes. I think I should read some of this here because next week is lengthy. There's quite a bit there. So I'll read. Even though this we did one time before. One different group requested this teaching. So I don't need so much explanation on this. And also you have studied so much about these things. So because next we have only two Saturdays left now. So this is second Saturday and third and fourth. So we have third and fourth left. Now from this, there are also 7 points. First is the method with which to eliminate confusion. So how can eliminate confusion? So here's all the teachings that you have studied in many other texts and taught by many other great teachers. The first one is that any fortunate one who desires release from the great inescapable prison of cyclic existence need to use the following method. The liberation path that cuts off confusion through the scripture and realization of the sublime Dharma. This first is a brief, concise, how we practice Dharma. So those individuals who desire to free from the samsara, then what we have to do is, and we have to study Dharma and practice. Through this study and practice Dharma, through this method, then we can free from samsara, achieve enlightenment. And we have to make effort to this. So this just first recommendation why we should study, practice. Now this first impermanence. For all appearances, these composite interdependency of causes and conditions, all birth is followed by death, all meeting by parting, all accumulation by exhaustion, and all youth by dissipation, and all youth by dissipation, all youth by aging, all the accumulations by anticipations. Do not be attached to this life. Contemplate its impermanence. So you know this. Appearance of the past is like a dream, not here now. So past is past, not here. Those of the future are like the horn of a rabbit. The future is not here like the horn of a rabbit, which does not exist, is not here now. The momentary now is like a ripple on a lake. This very moment is called, this we call now. Now is very momentary. No, it's like a ripple, no? Ripple on a lake. Hold in your heart the essential sublime Dharma. So now this is how impermanence is. I must practice Dharma. So reflect Dharma, how important, and reinforce for the practice. I know everything is impermanent, but I don't feel impermanence. Why? Because I don't practice. I can explain very elegantly, about the impermanence. But in my mind, I don't feel there's an impermanent because my attachment, my grasping. So there's some method we reflect on. Next is the suffering. In the three miserable migration of hell-being, harigos, animals. So these are three lower realms. Being powerless to prevent their enslavement and killing, like animals. You look at, see, as I was talking about, they're so powerless. Like look at the poultries, chicken farm, fish farm. So much suffering is there, Their suffering is like waves of fire, never ending. Oh, my wise one, generate compassion for them. Looking at their suffering, don't cultivate compassion to them. This is the purpose of the reflecting of the suffering of the three realms of the lower. Tossed violently by the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. We human beings, everybody, animals as well, Then see, in the ocean of samsara with no bottom or shore, desiring happiness but craving the causes of suffering. All my weary are the sentient beings who have no protectors. So there's no protector in the samsara. Everyone is suffering so much. Look at it in our human realm. There's so many people. Look at their, different places with the different conditions. The suffering so much. Reflect on this. Say, I must practice the Dharma. Then causality, the karma and the result. None of us can prevent the result of proceeding causes and conditions. So the causes and the conditions that we have created, nobody can stop them. Just they come, manifest, like a flood, like earthquake, you see. They are infallible for us all. Furthermore, there is movement, cycle, causality, the arising of a variegated Samsara, Nirvana as the self-expression of virtue and non-virtue. See, all the Samsara is created by the cause. is expression of the reflection of our own action, the Samsara and Nirvana. So look at this. So I must practice Dharma. The virtue and non-virtue is nothing to the spiritual or non-spiritual. Virtue is cause for happiness. We all have the responsibility to maintain that. Non-virtue is the cause for the suffering. We all have to abandon that. This is nothing to do with the spiritual or non-spiritual. Everyone has the responsibility. So look at this and reinforce our Dharma practice. In the absence of cause, the result is total's total's fur. When there's no cause to suffer, so there's no suffering. No. So our suffering is come from the cause. As soon as when there's no cause, no matter how much you try, there will be no suffering. See, this is a very important statement. So look at this. In the absence of cause, the result is total's fur. The total has no fur, All possible happiness and suffering arises from virtuous and non-virtuous causes and conditions. See, this is the mode of abiding of all phenomena. As earlier mentioned, it's not a Buddhism, it's the universal. It's not a believer or non-believer. It's the reality nature of all the causality in the world, in the universe. So, intelligence one, pay close attention to causality. So, if you're smart, if you're really intelligent, if you're really smart, this is how we should pay attention. If we don't know how to pay attention to this, we are not smart, we are not intelligent. See. Then next is, now look at this, all the reality nature of the causality and the suffering. Now next is the refuge. See, to cut off confusion, take refuge from the bottom of your heart in the perfected Buddha, the one who knows directly and precisely all dharmas, all dharmas, gross, subtle, and hidden. So this first, now when you look around, who can really help us to free from this confusion? Then Buddha is the one who knows. You see, not because of Buddhist, but because the reality nature. Like say, when you want to get really good degree, PhD degree, you have to select university. Which university is the best? See, when you know the university which has a great professors, doesn't matter who that is, but as long as that professor has all the skill, all the excellent qualities, you go to that university, isn't it? That's the reality, no? So you go to that university, and under that professor, you study and you get a real good education. And you become the professor. Likewise, now in the samsara, in the world, you look around, who can teach us to free from this kind of confusion? Then you can say, Buddha. No, because Buddha's compassion is to every sentient beings, not only to Buddhists, you see. That's very important. Buddha's concern is not just only for Buddhists. Buddha is concerned more for the sentient beings everywhere, especially those who are in the lower realms, who has no privilege. See, that's why we take refuge in the Buddha. So the Buddha is imperfect, the one who knows all things what he's talking about. Because he has no confusion. Directly, see, all the teachings very directly, precisely. All the dharmas, you see, all the phenomena, all the teachings, from the gross to the subtle and the hidden, everything. So nothing is hidden in the Buddha's wisdom. See? That's why we take refuge in the Buddha. Take refuge means following the wisdom of that individual, you see. Then Buddha, next Dharma, in the sublime Dharma of scripture and realization. See, scripture means you study, you investigate, you get to understand, and then you practice. It's called realization. And in the Sangha of Aryas, the great practitioners, great Bodhisattvas, who are highly accomplished. So these three, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, you follow. And their confusion is totally uprooted. So this is the first, most important, how you choose the path. Now the more advanced here refuge, Dharmakaya, co-emergent luminosity, the Buddha Dharmakaya, the wisdom body of the Buddha. See, co-emergent, when everything in the wisdom state, that's luminosity, clear light, pervading wisdom mind. So the Dharmakaya, sublime Dharma, free of protection. So now the profound Dharma. The profound Dharma is, you see, sublime Dharma, free of protection, no birth, no abiding, see, cessation, and liberation, mean free from liberation. So this is Dharma. And the Sangha of Aryas, beyond coming and going, highly accomplished, the great Bodhisattvas, who is the 8th, 9th, 10th Bhumi, beyond coming and going their nature. Embodying them all is the ultimate refuge, one's own empty, luminous mind. That's your mind. Your mind is the Buddha. Your mind is the Dharma. And your mind is the Sangha. See, that you take refuge. So we need first outer refuge, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, that we need to receive teachings, we need to study, we need to practice, follow, realize. At the end, you become the Buddha, you become the Dharma and the Sangha. See, because you have the Buddha nature. See, your Buddha nature, in the ultimate sense, is Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. See, this very profound statement. Please reflect on this. So, today we'll stop here. First, I want to say, I personally feel very fortunate, see, to share this wisdom with you, because many of our Sangha here who are listening is a Dharma friends from the 80s, 90s, beginning of 2000. So, so I'm sharing this wisdom with my full respect. And should say, to appreciate your dedication to Dharma study practice. So life is impermanent, So we need to establish Dharma in the country to help other people. This is the way how to study, practice Dharma. Not just only chanting by mantra. Chanting mantra, maybe 1 generation, 2 generations will not stay too long. But this is the way how to establish the Dharma. Study, practice, benefit, the wisdom, because everybody has Buddha nature, has a potential. So please reflect on these, study them, reflect on them, rededicate your study, practice Dharma, reappreciate yourself, and follow the Dharma precisely. And then next 2 weeks, we'll complete this. Next 2 Saturdays, we'll complete this text. So I'll be very happy. So we have now here audience from United States, of course, and then from Vietnam, from Chile, and from Malaysia, and I hope few from Europe. Let's see. And this is very important. And I thank you so much. I appreciate your dedication to Dharma, and then build the strength, not out of ego, but out of wisdom, out of compassion. Okay. Thank you so much. Now, please take a deep breath. Exhale. Now, Anila, you want to say some dedication prayers?
Please join me in long life prayers for Khenchen Rinpoche, page 59. Flower of faith and fortune. Nemo Guru, primordially pure Dharmakaya, self-expressive, Amitayu. Sambhogakaya, miraculous display. White Tara and Nirmanikaya, appearing for the benefit of migrators. Ushinisha Vijaya bestows the deathless, all benefit accomplishing goodness. Jigten Sumgon, non-dual with Lord Nagarjuna, in teachings the essence of the positions, textual traditions, and mindsets of the stainless conquerors, completely and without mistake, bestow the supreme and common attainments that engage the lineage blessings. Channels, knots are united by this treasury of confident intelligence that excellently clarifies the instructions, mindsets, treaties, textual traditions, life essence of the Triple Jewels teachings. May the life of this great lamp of the teachings be stable and long. You meaningfully promulgated the teachings everywhere. You raise aloft the victory banner of the non-setting of teachings. Your fearless roar annihilates wrong views. May the life of this maintainer of the unerring victor's teachings treasury be stable and long. The precious teachings, basis of benefit and happiness, the heart of the teachings, both the scriptural and realization, hearing, contemplation, and meditating, the result of the teachings, meaningful 3 trainings. May the life of this great maintainer of the teachings treasury be stable and long. Now, as we are smothered by the gloom of these degenerate times, a lamp of the teaching, such as yourself, is like a daytime star. May all of us remain your followers for all birth migrations, and may the distance between us in this birth disappear, and we be at your feet, happy at our good fortune of being gathered together. We pray the life of disembodiment of the great understanding wisdom is stable and long. Please join me in supplication to Gampopa. You are the one who is the single intent of Dharmakaya, Buddha, which is difficult to find even across infinite eons. You, name, O Supreme Guru, is not easily heard. In this world obscured by the darkness of ignorance, you clearly illuminate the very mind itself. With the luminous wisdom of the sun mandala, your name, O sublime Guru, is not easily heard. For beings who are drowning in the ocean of suffering, you awakened into Buddhahood with overwhelming compassion. And for as long as samsara exists, you ripen all wandering beings with the inexhaustible wheel. Oh, how your name is not easily heard. You, the one known as Kandara Pabra, are the holder of the treasury of the teachings, the chief heir, the protector of the world, the king of Shakyas. Your name, O precious Guru, is not easily heard. The source of all happiness in Samsara and Nirvana, the sage's teaching are so profound, peaceful, and free of complexity. Your name, which is a victory banner in the battle against mistaken understanding and conceptual complexities, is not easily heard. The supreme essence of the Bhagavati teachings is the precious Vajra vehicle of the secret mantra. You teach its meaning and recognize the damage caused by misunderstanding. Oh, your name is not easily heard. To lay things out in brief, the precious Guru, the Dharmakaya, ripens all wandering beings through the inexhaustible wheel of the exalted body, speech, and mind, the precious Guru's name exceedingly difficult to hear. Glorious root Guru, precious one who sits upon a lotus at my heart, hold me with kindness and grant me all accomplishments of enlightened body, speech, and mind. I pray for the excellent health of the Guru. I pray that he lives a supremely long life. I pray that his activities spread far and wide. Grant blessings that I may not be separate from the Guru. May the Buddha's teachings, the only source of benefit, happiness, endure long, and may the victory banner of longevity be steadfast for those who uphold the teachings. May the sound of the great Dharma drum liberate all sentient beings from suffering. Please remain and teach the Dharma for infinite millions of eons. By the might of this powerful merit, may the aspirations of the benefactors of their circles be accomplished within this very life. May their obstacles be pacified. May everything be auspicious, and may their wishes be fulfilled according to the Dharma. Just as the hero Manjushri realized things as they are, and as did Samantabhadra too, I will follow in their path and perfectly dedicate all the virtues. As all dedications have been praised supremely by the victorious one of the 3 times, I fully dedicate all my roots of virtue for excellent conduct. By the blessing of the Buddhas who attained the 3 kayas, by the blessing of the truth of unchanging nature of reality, and by the blessing of the undivided Sangha community, may my prayers be fulfilled according to this dedication. May the virtues accumulated in the 3 times by myself and our beings in Samsara and Nirvana, and by the intrinsic root of virtue, may I and all sentient being quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious awakening. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Rinpoche.
you, everybody.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Please take care.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rinpoche.
Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Rinpoche for the
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Rinpoche.
you, Rinpoche.
Enjoy
Gracias,
Dharma.
Rinpoche. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Kimbola.
Oh, yes. I see Stephen here, Teresa.
As always, marvelous, Rinpoche. Thank you so much.
Yeah.